Well, hello, welcome to episode 112 of the Payers and Players podcast. My name's Robert. I'm here with Scott. As you can see, we've got Cooper Williams with us here. We're excited about that. Scott, will you introduce Cooper?
Yeah, we've had Cooper on the show before, and it was a really good interview. This was a couple of years ago before while he was still a junior, but now that he's in college and playing some pro tournaments this summer, wanted to catch up with Cooper and see how he's doing. Since that heartbreaking loss at Tennessee, he's been on a roll. He's won the doubles wild card to the U.S. Open and has won back-to-back tournaments in Tunisia. So, Cooper, congratulations on a good start to the summer.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. And for those that haven't listened before, Cooper was, I think it was around episode 67 we had. Both him and what do you call Richard Woodruff? Your coach, your trainer, your sports and conditioning guy, strength and conditioning?
He's like sports and conditioning, physical trainer, and a good friend. So it's all like mushed into one there.
Yeah.
They
we saw him a lot this summer. He was, I guess, traveling with Coco, so he helped her in the French Open. So that's not a bad it's not a bad summer for him as well.
Yeah, that guy's had a great summer.
So they were on the podcast in 2021 together. And so we're excited to have Cooper back now. Cooper, tell everybody where you're sitting and what you're doing right now.
So I'm in Monastir, Tunisia right now. I'm playing some 15K futures. I'm in the hotel room. It's my third week here. I'd planned on staying a bit longer, but I've been doing pretty well. So I played my first week and I won the tournament my first week, and I just won the tournament yesterday. So I won my second week. So I'm gonna do one more week here and then head home. But yeah.
A lot of people don't know that in Monastir they do a future tournament basically every week of the year. And one of the things, so what a lot of players will do is they'll travel there, stay, and know that they're not having to move hotels, they're not having to move around, and they get to play a future every week while they're there. But then a lot of them describe kind of how it's difficult mentally. Can you explain, tell the crowd about Tunisia?
Yeah, so I'm actually pretty sure they do host a tournament here every week, or I don't know how long they've been doing it, but it's 52 weeks a year. I think it's usually 15Ks. I think they have some 25s now. They had a couple weeks ago, but
I think even a couple of weeks ago they had a 15K and a 25K, right?
Yeah, that's actually right. My first week they were playing at 25 at the same time as I was playing the 15 at two separate sites. But the resort that everyone stays in is this family. It's called like Family Skeins or whatever, and they have the normal match courts are a 10-second walk from the front door of the hotel. So you literally just walk across the parking lot to the courts. And then the facility is nice. The courts are super, super slow. And we use like these Babolat balls that are quite heavy. But yeah, in terms of
makes for a 4-hour match, right?
As you can see, I played I think the time on what was shown on like the ITF wasn't right. I mean, we had like a 10-minute heat break and stuff. So it was like 4.5 hours. Like it was worse than that. It said like 356 on the ITF thing, but like I was talking about it with the guy I played, and I was like, it was like we were closer to 5 hours than we were 4.
Wow.
But yeah, in terms of like staying here for long periods of time and how it is like mentally and physically, I think I'd kind of say that it's probably a little harder mentally. I think physically, it's obviously you kind of know what you're getting yourself into in terms of like dealing with the heat and stuff. It's knocking on 95 plus degrees every day here. If you're playing at like noon or 1, you're really suffering. So you're kind of aiming to play at 9 a.m. Or if, there's a lot of matches, you want to be playing past like 5 or 6 p.m., which would be ideal. But yeah, mentally, I think the resort's actually super nice. Like you're right on the beach and there's pools and stuff. And there's actually quite a few tourists. So there's always people doing stuff. And there's like little events and concerts going on around here every other day. But, I think it does get a little monotonous. At some points you're doing the same thing every day. You're practicing, you're playing your match, you're tired and you want to go stay in the room, and like, you can't really like go outside and watch matches because it's 100 degrees. But, you're kind of doing the same things every day. And I think it's easy. I've been lucky to have been doing well here. So I haven't really had to like, be down on myself too much. But,
Yeah.
I think what I've heard from a lot of the guys I've talked to and the guys I've just been around that, what we keep saying is that the highs, if you're winning the tournament, the highs are relatively high. But, if you have a bad week, you got to wait 7 days to play again. We like to say that the lows are a little lower than the highs are high.
Yeah, I think the right approach is winning. So I mean
Yeah, winning does help. It makes it's a fulfilling experience when you're winning matches for sure.
yeah, and like you say, if you had to, let's say you lose in the first round, you get a touch match, and then you got to wait seven more.
Mm-hmm.
That's so
Yep,
much more taxing. At least with you,
exactly.
you're always focused on the next day. You got something to look forward to, as opposed
Yep.
to you got to wait till the things come through. So I think by winning the tournaments is the right approach. So if everyone could do that, it would be a
Yeah,
much better experience for everybody.
Hey Cooper, so
exactly.
speaking of winning, what were your expectations going in? You flew there, you didn't know when you were coming back. You probably hadn't even booked your
Mm-hmm.
return flight when you left.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of people that aren't tennis folks, just the idea of leaving without the knowing when you're coming back is a challenge. What were your expectations?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was originally supposed to come here a little bit earlier, but Theo and I got my doubles partner from Duke, Theo Winiger. We got the email for the wild card playoff for the Open. We got it, I mean, maybe a week before my flight was supposed to be to here. So obviously we had to play that. So I had to delay my travel here by about 2 weeks, or a week and a half or something. And I kind of like messed up my hip flexor a little, so I wasn't really hitting that many tennis balls before the doubles playoff. But I got some good reps there, and obviously Theo and I did great. Shout out Theo. But yeah, I guess my expectations coming here were obviously just the goal to get as many points as you possibly can. I just wanted to get my ranking up. I know that, you know, during the year, everyone talks about playing tournaments in the summer and how important it is to, make a push to get points and stuff. But I think when you're playing tournaments, summer feels very short. You got to maximize every tournament you play, and you got to be in the best shape possible to do the best you can. So I think, when I was coming here and sorry. Oh, crap. Can you guys see me?
Yeah.
Sorry, my phone glitched. But yeah, my expectations coming here were just get as many points as possible. And, I knew I had a good level to really make it deep. And I knew it was going to take some adjustment with the heat and the different balls and the court speeds, because I've played at two different sites now. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to say like you expect to win tournaments and stuff, but I definitely expected to do well.
What is
And
when you got there? What was your ranking when you started?
I mean, I think I lost a bunch of points recently at the beginning because, all right, yeah, I lost a couple points at the beginning of the summer. So I think I was like 1,030 or something, and now I'm 690. I want to say.
Yeah, that's a pretty big jump.
It's
when you can jump
300
300 spots.
something
Yeah,
spots. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, the expectations I mean, I have one more week, so hopefully I can keep it going. But
yeah,
the expectations were definitely met, and maybe a little. I'm happy with the results so far. We'll leave it
for
as
sure,
that.
for sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it makes total sense. For a 15K, do you get 15 points if you win the tournament?
Yeah, correct. So 15 points. So I've 30 points now in the past 2 weeks.
That's what I'm talking about. A lot of people get excited
Yeah,
to get their first pro point. Cooper leaving after 2 weeks and got a week to go with 30 points.
Yeah.
exactly.
Good, congratulations.
Exactly.
Hey,
Thank
so
you. I appreciate it.
when we go through your first tournament, I see first
Mm-hmm.
round you played Nitin Kumar Sina,
Mm-hmm.
one in
Yep.
the third. So tell me, I mean, he lost the first set and then won the next two pretty easy. Lost the first set 6-3, but then went 2-1 in the next two. What'd you change? What was the difference?
Yeah, I mean, getting out there, like the conditions were pretty rough. I think it was pretty windy that day, and I just generally didn't feel uberly comfortable with everything that was happening on court and stuff. And like I hadn't really played a ton of tennis, so I was maybe a little rusty. So the first set, like the guy, credit to him, he played well, broke me once, and the heat was. I was a little nervous about the heat because I don't think physically I was in the best shape I've ever been in. It being my first match in a while. Um, but after that set, I think I went up a break early in the second and kind of started feeling the ball a bit better and making better decisions and kind of getting my mind adjusted to to being in match mode again, which I think for me is just like the biggest thing, just being able to mentally get in the right headspace when you're playing a match. Because I think physically, the level's going to be there the majority of the time. Like everyone's a good player, and you're not going to have some crazy day where you make 65 unforced errors. So I think especially for me, the mental side of it is extremely important. And that match was really, really helpful for me to be able to like exercise that portion of my game. And then after I lost the first, I think he kind of crumbled a little, and the heat got to him a little because I mean it was 100 degrees that day, and the third set I think I broke him at like 1-all or something. I think the ref gave me a good call actually, and I got I think like the guy had like a pass that was like maybe in, maybe out. Like I probably would have called it in, but like I wasn't going to argue about that. But maybe I got a little blessed there. But yeah, I think he kind of just crumbled a little, and I took advantage of that, and it was a good confidence booster, and I kind of ran with it for the next couple matches.
Yeah. So talk about coming over to Tunisia from the U.S. Did you go straight after the wild card playoff, or
Mm-hmm.
sort of what was your lead up to get prepared for Tunisia? And maybe the weather in Florida is similar to there, so you don't have to adjust that much. But talk
Mm-hmm.
about how you got over there, and then how you got prepared for the tournament.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, like I kind of tweaked my hip a little, maybe a week before the playoff or something like that, and I wasn't really hitting that much, but I went to Orlando a couple days early, felt a lot better. Trained in Orlando, which is significantly more humid than it is here, but the heat is, you feel it probably just as much as you do here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was great prep. And I was even
Yeah.
practicing some single stuff there, knowing in my head that I was going to be coming here.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I was playing doubles, I was still trying to get as many like reps as I could for singles. So that was kind of in the back of my head, and training in the heat is obviously just super helpful. Like, I don't know if I make it through that first match physically, if I'm not, training in Florida, who knows? But yeah, after the doubles, I trained at home again for, I mean, maybe 2 or 3 more days, and then took my flight over to Frankfurt, and then landed in Frankfurt, had a bit of a layover, and then Frankfurt to Tunis, and it's about a 2-hour drive from Tunis to Monastir. There's some flights that go into Monastir. I'm going to try and fly out of Monastir, which is much better than driving to Tunis because it's a kind of a rough drive, but hopefully fly out of Monastir and do the same flight path back.
Okay.
But yeah.
And are you by yourself, or do you have a coach?
I'm by myself. I've just been kind of alternating roommates over the past 3 weeks. One of my Duke teammates was here, or he actually graduated, Andrea Petrovic, great guy. He was here for my first week here. He ended up going back on a Thursday or Friday or something. He had a tough match. And then a guy from Vandy, Nathan Cox, came here, and I was rooming with him. And then he ended up leaving maybe, I don't even know. Is it a week ago? I think it's a week ago. I think he left a week ago. I don't know. Now I'm with Matt Rankin. He plays for Kentucky. Great guy.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I don't even know how long I've been with him. I can't even tell you. But it's
Sounds
like
like it
kind of
all
all a
runs
blur.
together. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Vegas here. You don't know what time it is.
And does the tournament arrange that for you, or you're sort of on your
No.
own? Go ahead.
No. It's actually really simple. Like I arranged to room with AP, like just with AP, and then I get to the desk, and you just tell the guy at the tournament so the tournament desk is actually in the hotel. So you go to the tournament desk and you're like, hey, I'm in a room with Andrea, and then they're like, okay, and they put your names on a little list so they can give you the rate for a double instead of a single. Then you go to the front desk and you tell them the same thing, and they'll give you a key. And it's actually really quite simple. I haven't really had any issues, like no, logistical issues with that. And when other roommates are moving in, you just go down and do the same process with them. So I mean, I think I've spent like 10 total minutes doing logistical stuff with the people downstairs.
Hey, so
Okay.
for talk about the rate of the room, and it's
Mm-hmm.
if you rent it alone versus if you rent it with somebody,
Yep.
and then what all's included. I didn't realize, I mean, there's food included, there's all kinds of stuff included in that rate. They've really found a way to make it affordable for the guys who come to the tournament.
100%. Yeah, for sure. I think we all know like 15Ks aren't really producing the most prize money ever. So they've really done a great job here in making everything pretty affordable. So I'm not 100% sure because I think sometimes if you stay longer, they give you a better rate. But I think generally the rate for a double is €80 a night. And then the rate for a single is like 120 or
Hmm.
110 or something like that. I could be
Yeah.
wrong, but that's somewhere in the ballpark of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of like, I mean, it's an all-inclusive resort. You get a little wristband. I don't know if I have it with me. It's somewhere here, but it's like a little orange wristband, and you wear that everywhere. And they have like a buffet. Breakfast starts at like 7 or 6:30, stretches till 10, and then lunch starts at 12:30, stretches till 3:30, and then dinner's 6:30 to 10, something like that. And you just walk in and get as much food as you want, served like a buffet style. And they have like pizza, pasta, chicken, lamb, fish, rice. Like they have a ton of stuff. They got like little desserts and fruit and stuff. Um,
So the
so they
cuisine's
actually,
pretty. The cuisine's pretty Western.
I'd say, yeah, they have like kind of like a Western portion, and then they have some
Okay.
local stuff, and then they have
Okay.
some, stuff that everyone eats. Because there's a lot of Europeans here, like a lot of
Right.
English and Scottish, and a lot of people
Yeah.
from there. But yeah, and like if you want to get a water at the desk or at the restaurant, they just give you a bottle of water. Like you never have to actually pay for anything because it's an
Wow.
all inclusive resort, so that it's all included in your stay in your room.
Wow.
I think one of the things that's hard about traveling to ITS is all the variables around things that you're used to doing when you're at home, like food,
Hmm.
and you go somewhere and you may, if you rent an Airbnb, you may have to Uber to the restaurant and all.
Yep.
They've made it extremely easy for you just to get to the resort, and once you're at the resort, you're good. Everything else is taken care
Yeah.
of.
I mean, I haven't left the resort. The only time I leave the resort was last week when I was going to the other club to play the matches. Other than that, I haven't left the resort. I mean, I guess that attributes to some of the monotony that
Yeah.
comes along with playing here for an extended period of time. But it's also pretty nice knowing that everything's in one place. You're not spending money on Ubers. You're not having to like, go to the grocery store to pick anything up. Like it really, it's the ideal setup for someone who's looking to play a lot of tournaments in a row and not have to go through that much trouble or expense to do so.
Well, going back to your first tournament, that first round was the only match where you gave up a set. Looks like the
Mm-hmm.
rest of the tournament, you pretty well rolled everything in two sets.
Yeah.
And the final even won 3-1. So
Mm-hmm.
you leave that first week winning 3-1. How, hearing you describe the courts being slow, the balls, it almost sounds like a little bit like Battle of Boca. Um, a little, maybe not exact, but
Yeah.
how much did playing with the Dunlop balls in the beginning of the college season help to deal with sort of the slow pace of the balls while you're there?
Mm-hmm. Well, I forgot to mention this, but originally the first site last week was on, I guess you could classify them as like more public courts, is what it felt like. Um, and those were a little bit faster than the ones that are actually in the resort. And they use a different ball too, because they use Babolat like all team for one tournament and then Babolat Pro for another.
Hmm.
And whatever one we used the first week, I can look it up and find out. But the one we used the first week was a little lighter, so it moved through the court a little faster. And I generally prefer those. Like I like the ball going through the court. So I actually found it a little. But when I got adjusted to that, I kind of felt a lot better playing with those. Um, and then this week, obviously, the balls are significantly heavier. You play like 3 or 4 games, and they really fluff up. I wasn't a huge fan of the Dunlop balls at all. I don't particularly like them. I know that sentiment's shared through a lot of college tennis players, but yeah, I mean, I think it's less about like having played with specifically the Dunlop balls, but having to. It gave me the general sense to know that if I'm playing with heavier balls, like I played with them before, I kind of know how to work my way around and adapt my game to playing with those balls. But it's tough because you're playing on different courts, you're playing different guys, and they play different game styles. So it really a lot of it depends on the guy you're playing, and they're dealing with the heavy balls too. So you're all trying to adapt to it. But but yeah, I mean the difference between the first week and the second week in terms of the court speed and the balls was actually no, I wouldn't say like ginormous, like it blew me away, but it was a pretty significant difference.
Big difference, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then you go into week two.
Mhm.
What's your recovery look like day to day? How do you recover from each day's set of matches? And this week, I think you're playing singles and doubles, right?
Yeah,
So
that's correct.
how does the body handle playing every single day in the extreme conditions, long matches, and how do you get yourself ready for the next day?
Yeah, so another actually really positive thing about being here is that they have like this spa area on the first floor where they have like cold tubs and hot
Mm,
tubs, like an indoor pool and stuff. So a lot of the guys here will be going to the cold tubs, going to the hot tubs, just doing contrast or whatever it is that makes their body feel good. And you can get like a sports massage for like $40 or something, like 40 US dollars. I think it's like 150, 140 in local currency or something. And, it's actually pretty good. They know what they're doing and it helps a good bit. But I guess like in terms of day to day, it usually just consists of like stretching in the gym and then, going to the cold tub or something like that, going to the hot tub, doing some contrast. And then after the tournament, between tournaments, I'm still hitting the cold tubs and stuff, but I'm trying to swim and stretch and maybe get a sports massage here and there. So there's good amenities that'll help, keep your body in good shape.
yeah. And without having a coach there, how do you talk to somebody after your matches, or how do you sort of assess your play and communicate sort of what you're thinking, and get some feedback? Do you do anything like that?
Um, yeah, I mean, a little bit. I'll talk to my parents.
Okay.
I'll give them a call when they're awake and talk to them about how I played and stuff. And they'll listen and then they'll give some tips and stuff. My mom will help out if I tell her like the balls are slow or whatever. She'll give me some pointers. But I mean, generally, like I think you know I'll talk to obviously my dude coaches some. But I think when I'm here, like I almost like kind of just being in my own headspace and
Hmm.
be able to do focus on myself and just play my matches. And I think especially when you're in a place like this where all you're doing is thinking about tennis, sometimes it might be good to like take your mind off it sometimes and then
Yeah.
go to the beach or go hang out with some of the other guys here. But again, like in terms of like making sure you're at maximizing your level, uh, I'll hit some extra balls after a match just to get the feel for stuff. But if I'm playing a lot of matches, the main goal is just to stay physically in shape because, you know, a lot of the time here, I think the guy in the best shape. I mean, you saw it in my semi last week, or a couple days ago. I wouldn't say that match was decided physically, but one of us could have tapped out, and that could have been the difference. And I had to
Right.
save like 4 or 5 match points. If physically I'm not there, like maybe I don't win one of those points. So I think that's was my biggest focus, and the level was kind of falling behind or like falling in line.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I do my best to stay on top of my game and keep trying to improve even when I'm playing tournaments.
Yeah, Cooper, speaking of that, so you work with Richard, how does when you're off alone, how
Mm-hmm.
does he send you stuff to do while you're there? And what does he do while you're in Florida to get you ready to go to do something like this?
Yeah, so I guess I started in Florida, but in Florida I was going in 3 or 4 times a week, and then when I had like a little hip thing, I was going in to do PT at the same time. So I do some upper body stuff, and then go to PT, which was extremely helpful. Um, and then when I'm here, he usually sends me a workout that I'll do here. It's not nothing like crazy or anything, just to because it's you don't want to lose 8 pounds while you're traveling and playing because then you got to go gain that back when you get back to Florida. Um, so yeah, he'll send me a workout and I'll just do it here. And I'm probably try and do like 2 or 3 of those a week just to keep my body in shape. But like if you have a match like I did on Saturday, you're
Right.
just you're cutting that workout out of the week.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
as long as you keep winning matches, matches the next day, you're probably not too focused on keep stay
Yeah,
because you're going to be match fit anyways through the match. So say if
exactly.
you do happen to lose early, then that's when you'd want to have something to make sure that you're
Of
staying
course.
staying up to speed. Yeah. And
Exactly.
curious, at the resort, do a lot of people from the resort come watch the matches? What's the spectator scene like?
I mean, at the other site, I played the final in front of the tournament director and the physio, I think, and that was it. And actually,
Two witnesses. That's all you need.
yeah, no, one of my buddies was there watching.
Okay. Okay.
The guy I warmed up with someone and he stayed and watched the match. I didn't even think he was going to stay, but it's nice of him to stay. But here you get a couple more people coming out. I think my final, a lot of the players end up coming watching the final.
Yeah.
Or like if you make it deep, they'll watch the matches, and
Yeah.
even early rounds, a lot of the players will come out. But I think I had a couple tourists come out and watch the final, maybe like 4 or 5. But
So
it's
it's not
usually
like you. Go ahead.
you'll usually get like 15, 20 tennis players coming out to
Okay.
watch the final or something.
Yeah.
Because the day the final starts, the day the final is also the day qualifying starts. So there's always
Right.
some overlap there.
Yeah. Yes. So it's not like the local citizens come out to watch the tournament because it's there every week, so they're probably sick of it, right?
Exactly. I mean, I'm only here for 3 weeks out of the 52, so they're not going to remember my name.
You never know.
So Cooper, I see like you said, the second week you rolled into the semis pretty easy. Or at least the draw shows easy. It may have felt hard to you, but on the draw, it looked like you handled it well. But in the semis, you played Pablo Martinez Gomez. He was a
Mhm.
qualifier.
Yep.
And like you said, he won the first set in a breaker,
Mhm.
7-6, and the breaker was 8-6. So
Yep.
now you've got to follow that. You won the next set or next two sets 4-5. So
Yeah.
talk about that match and how you're able to lose the first set, hang in there, adapt, change, and then come back and win it.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, credit to him. That was an obscene match. Like that was all over the place. He played great. He's a hell of a player. He's been playing some really good ball the past couple of weeks. I think he sent me to 25, beat some good players there, and had a good week obviously last week. So he's been balling out over here. I think he's going back to Spain now. But yeah, that match was tough. I mean, the first we were playing next to the other semi against the Italian guy that I played in the final, and I think we were 3-all in the first, and they had just finished their match. So our first 6 games took a little over an hour.
Wow.
My second service game was like maybe 15 deuces, and his second service game was like 20. So we were 2-all, and it was like 50 minutes in.
Is
So
that when you
physically,
wish you were playing college tune with no ad?
yeah, exactly. I mean, I was getting like 6 or 7 break chances, and it's just like getting snuffed out by aces. I think he had like 17 or 18 aces the whole match, so he was serving some nukes. Um, but yeah, I had some chances in the first early to break for sure, and then we got to the breaker. I actually went up 6-3 in the breaker, and yeah, he won
Yeah,
5 straight points,
that's
saved
brutal.
3 set points. So that was tough on the brain, and I actually got
Yeah.
broken second game. So I went down
Wow.
7-6, 2-0. So I was kind of in a hole that I kind of frankly dug myself. I played a pretty loose game at 1-0. But I broke right back and then held. We kept holding till 4-all. And I think 4-all, we hit like the 2.5 hour mark, something like that, maybe 3 hour marks by then.
Hmm.
And I broke him at 4-all, played a really good game, and held it out at 6-4. And physically, I was feeling okay at that point. And I was kind of always like looking over at him to see if like maybe he was a little gassed because he played like 11 matches in a row or something because he sent me to 25 and finished on Saturday of the first week and then played qualifying for the 15 on Sunday.
Wow.
So he had just been rolling, and I was telling myself like just keep making it physical, like he's going to gas out, like let's just keep playing physical, and the level was really good. um, and then we start the third, and it's just neck and neck the whole time. Gets to 4-all, I have like a little deuce look at 4-all, and he snuffs it out with a couple aces, I think. So that was pretty demoralizing. And then he actually goes up 5-4 40 love in the third on my serve. Yeah, it was. I mean, he hit 3 winners, and I was just like, wow, like this guy's just gonna play an obscenely good game to win the match. And I remember like vividly, like I hit a good first, and he just cracked a return right on my toenails, and like I hit a pickup. It's like floating in the air. I'm like, this guy's gonna just annihilate this forehand, and he just smokes it, misses it by like 2 inches or something. So end up saving 5 match points that game, and then 5-all was a brutal game. It was a long game. Had got to 30-all, and I think he missed a forehand that I don't think he normally misses, and then I mean, he must have hit like a 135 serve at like my break point. Because the thing about the courts is it almost feels like one end is a little downhill.
Hmm.
So if you're on the far end, the furthest from the hotel,
Hmm.
it feels like if you hit a kicker on that side, it's going to jump over your shoulder. And this guy's,
Yeah.
6'5", 6'6". Like he's
Wow.
really getting them up there. So I have to play really close up to kind of cut off the angle and make sure like, I'm not getting pulled out into Narnia. So I played really far up. He hits like a 135 right to my body, and I just like smoke it, like just catch it perfectly. Like couldn't have hit a better return. And then like, he floats a ball, or maybe I hit a winner, or he misses a ball, or something like
Yeah.
that. But I break him. And I remember changing ends, like play the first point, long point, and I could feel like my hammy like kind of locking up. I'm like, oh my gosh, like are you kidding me? Like right now, it's like 4 hours and 20 minutes in.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, have two match points at 45. He saves them both, and then I end
Jeez.
up, playing a couple good points and winning the match.
Wow.
And
Wow.
and yeah,
That's
that was.
that's that's mentally draining just hearing about it.
Oh, I mean, it
Imagine
was.
playing it with that kind of heat and pressure and
Uh,
everything. That's a
it was
brutal
a brutal
match, but
match.
so impressive to win a match like that. And it's got to feel great after the match too.
Yeah, it feels great after, but then you're like, you're in the final now, and you're like, crap,
Right.
like I didn't just get this far to like, lose in the
Right.
final. So you do
Right.
everything you can to recover, and you show up the
Yeah.
next day and do your
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. Yeah. And you did.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was pretty gassed. By the end of
Yeah.
that one, I was tapping out.
Good.
Well, Cooper, I think for people who aren't deep in the tennis world, understanding how you manage your calendar,
Mhm.
can you talk about that for a second? And I know a little bit of it is based on opportunity, right? So
Mhm.
if the USTA emails that you have a chance to go play in the US Open, you have to change your calendar to fit that. But
Correct.
overall, without opportunities that you didn't see coming, how do you manage your calendar?
Yeah, I think I've been fortunate enough to have a good amount of opportunities like that I've earned in terms of like accelerator spots that I used last summer to play challengers. And I felt obligated to use those because, kind of a one-time opportunity of what it felt like. And I got some good wins, got some really harsh draws. I ended up playing like Fernley first round of Qs in Chicago, and played like, Rodesh first round of Qs in Charlottesville, and Eubanks first round of Columbus. So I got some bad beats, but I also got some good wins. But in terms of like making a schedule this summer, the main goal is obviously just like where am I going to do the best, and whether that's hard court, clay court, Europe, US, Spain, like the goal is to get points. I think when you play on the pro tour, like everybody's good, so you're always going to be playing good players, and
Right.
it just comes down to your level and how willing you are to put the work in and week out. So when I'm making my schedule, obviously when you get an opportunity like the doubles wild card, you go play, and you just rework your schedule around it. But yeah, I mean, when I was deciding what to play, it was just like, I'm just going to go play, and it's easy to come here and play back to back weeks because I had originally thought I was going to play like 4 or 5 here and just stick it out and just grind and get as many points as possible.
Wow.
Obviously, I've ended up doing pretty well. I mean, there are guys here that are staying here for like 12, 13 weeks in a row, just scrapping it out. And I like to think I'm tough, but I don't know if I'm that tough. But um,
So
but yeah,
yeah, so then you this was your last tournament there, and you come back to the States, I assume. And then
correct.
what is your schedule say for the rest of July, and then
Mhm.
leading into the U.S. Open?
So it's kind of still up in the air, honestly.
Right.
I might. I don't know quite yet. I don't know what my plan is for the rest of July. Honestly, I don't know if I'm going to try and play something because it's one of my friend's birthdays at the end of the July, so I'm going to go spend a couple days with him. So that'll be like my mini vacation, my 3-day vacation all
Yeah.
in the summer. Be a normal kid for 3 days, but
Yeah.
uh, I know I'm going to play. I'm going to play South Haven in August. It's like a 25K
Oh, in Mississippi.
in yeah,
But
Okay.
you're in the right
or
place to prepare for that because it is hot and humid there.
yeah. It is tough out there.
Yeah.
And then other than that, like frankly, I'm not too sure. But I know I'm gonna play that one, and then obviously U.S. Open. But yeah, I guess all I've been thinking about is winning tennis matches here, so I got to get on that.
Well,
Nice.
and it makes sense, right? A lot of people don't realize whatever your calendar might have been going into Tunisia, because of all the
Mhm.
points that you just got, now
Yeah,
getting in tournaments you might not
Right.
have been able to. So now it kind of blows up the calendar because of your results, right?
correct.
That's what a lot of people don't realize. I don't think so.
Right.
That
Well,
You
it's like
go, you win. Now it changes what you can get in.
right, and that's sort of how it is with junior. It's like every level of tennis. It's like you have a plan, and then you get results, and then the plan changes.
And now you got to get on the website, start scouring what's even available.
Right, right.
But now
Yeah.
Cooper's got a secret weapon when you start looking at the schedule. Her name is Michelle Williams.
Yeah,
I'm sure she knows exactly what to do.
yeah, she's the ultimate mom. She just
Yeah.
moms the hell out of it. If there were like a mom off or a mom competition, I mean, she'd be like the Michael
Oh,
Jordan of it.
she'd be the
So
one seed for sure.
She would be
yeah,
the one.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, let me-
she kills it.
If there was a UTR for moms, what would her UTR be?
She's up there.
Okay.
She's top 5 in the world. She's like a 15-5, 15-6, something like that. She's knocking on the door.
Yeah. I'm saying around at 16 for sure.
So Cooper, I'm curious what you're doing alone, right? You flew there alone. You rode the 2 hour drive. All of this is happening by yourself. How much did your junior ITF experience prepare you to do what you're doing right now?
Yeah, I think it's just abundantly helpful to have that experience I did in juniors. I think I matured a lot in juniors in terms of being able to play week in and week out, putting weeks together, knowing that like one week is just generally not going to be good enough. And if you have to travel alone, you got to make sure you're eating the right foods. You got to make sure you're stretching and hitting at the right times and finding people to hit with, booking practice courts. Like, I feel like a lot more goes into traveling than people might think when you're playing a tennis tournament. Like, there's so much stuff to do. Like, if you want to book a court downstairs, you have to wait in like a 10-minute line. Like, there's people lined up to get a court every day. Some of my buddies are hitting at 6 a.m. just so they can get a court. Like, it is truly a grind. And I think ITFs is like the younger brother of what's going on here, and you get a really good glimpse into, what life would be like if you're starting out your professional career, like I am now. And I think it's helped me a lot. And also obviously college, just maturing in general, my first year, I was just, coming off like juniors and stuff. And, you just go to college and you just mature and you're surrounded by good people and guys who want you to be better, and you grow up and some of the stuff, the bad habits you had or the bad tendencies you had in juniors kind of fade away and you replace them with better habits. And, coming to a place like Monastir really is going to shed light on whether those habits are good or bad. It's really going to dig in and make sure like if what you got is solid enough to withstand, what's going on here.
Well, that's like I say, that's a great thought and way to wrap things up. And we appreciate all your time here. And you have one more week, so we'll be watching you and wishing you good luck the rest of the week and safe travels back.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.